The market stank of 1,000 different worlds. Hyunwoo walked through the narrow aisles of Epsilon 7 trading station, passing cages that held creatures from across the galaxy. Some chirped sweetly, others hissed warnings, a few simply stared with too many eyes. He had been searching for 3 days now. The Terran Colonial Survey wanted specimens for their xenobiology program, and Hyunwoo had a generous budget. But he wasn't interested in the pretty ones or the tame ones. Those were boring. He wanted something special. That's when he heard the screaming. Not human screaming. The merchant was screaming. Hyunwoo pushed through a crowd of curious aliens to see what the fuss was about. In the back corner of the market, a 4-armed insectoid was backing away from a reinforced containment field. Inside the field was something that made several onlookers step back nervously. The creature was the size of a large wolf, but built nothing like one. It had 6 powerful legs, each ending in claws that scraped against the containment floor. Crystalline spines ran down its back, glowing faintly with a purple hue. Its head was angular and sharp, with jaws that looked strong enough to bite through metal. Right now, those jaws were open, showing rows of teeth as it snarled at everyone nearby. "Problem?" Hyunwoo asked the merchant. The insectoid spun around, his 4 arms gesturing wildly. "Problem? Yes, problem. Big problem. This thing is cursed. Absolute monster." The merchant's translation device struggled to keep up with his rapid speech. "What is it?" "Thornfang, from Krell 9, Death World. Very dangerous." The merchant's eyes darted toward the creature nervously. 3 handlers in hospital. It bites anything that moves. Cannot be trained. Cannot be controlled. I want it gone." Hyunwoo stepped closer to the containment field. The Thornfang immediately focused on him, its eyes locking onto his face. Those eyes were surprisingly intelligent. The creature growled low and deep, its spines rising higher. "Don't get close," the merchant warned. "It will attack." But Hyunwoo wasn't moving like prey. He stood still, hands relaxed at his sides. He watched the creature carefully. Yes, it was aggressive, but there was something else. The way it paced, the way its spines kept twitching, the rapid breathing. This wasn't a monster. This was a scared animal in a bad situation. "How long has it been in there?" Hyunwoo asked. 2 months, maybe 3. Previous owner died. Creature nearly killed the recovery team. What do you feed it? The merchant looked confused by the question. "Standard nutrition blocks, type 7. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. Type 7 was meant for herbivores. This was clearly a predator. No wonder it was angry. "How much?" he asked. The merchant's antennae perked up. "You want to buy? Really? How much?" "For you, special price? Just take it away." 500 credits, the crowd murmured. That was absurdly cheap. Creatures from death worlds usually cost 50,000 credits or more. The merchant was practically giving it away. "I'll give you 1,000, Hyunwoo said, "if you include the containment field and arrange transport to Tayson 4. The merchant's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Deal! Yes, deal!" "When do you take it?" "Today." Within an hour, the paperwork was complete. The merchant seemed overjoyed to see the Thornfang loaded onto a cargo shuttle. Several other merchants came by to offer condolences to Hyunwoo, as if he had just made a terrible mistake. One elderly reptilian merchant shook her head sadly. "That thing has killed before, human. It will kill again. Your kind are brave but foolish." Hyunwoo just smiled. "Maybe. We'll see." On the shuttle ride to his research station, Hyunwoo sat near the containment field. The Thornfang had stopped snarling. Now it just watched him with those intelligent eyes. Every few minutes it would pace the length of its small prison, turn around, and pace back. "Yeah, I'd be angry too," Hyunwoo said softly. "Stuck in a box, wrong food, everyone treating you like a monster. Nobody trying to understand you." The creature's ears flicked toward his voice. It was listening. Hyunwoo pulled out his datapad and started making notes. First priority was diet. Second was a proper habitat with enough space. Third was time. Lots of time. This wouldn't be quick. His communicator buzzed. It was Ji-won, his colleague at the research station. "Please tell me you're not bringing back anything crazy," her voice came through. "Define crazy." "Hyunwoo, I got a thornfang." There was a long pause. "You got a what?" "Thornfang, from Krell 9. Don't worry, it's contained." "Don't worry? Those things are apex predators. They're on the galactic danger list. Are you insane?" "Probably, but I've got a good feeling about this one." "A good feeling? Great. Should I prepare the medical bay for when it eats you?" "Prepare Habitat 7, the big one, and order fresh meat, lots of it. None of that processed stuff." Ji-won sighed deeply. "You're going to get yourself killed one day." "Not today. See you in 6 hours." Hyunwoo ended the call and looked back at the thornfang. The creature had settled down slightly, though it still watched him warily. "You and me," Hyunwoo said quietly. "We're going to figure this out. No shock collars, no drugs, no punishment, just patience." The thornfang tilted its head slightly, as if considering his words. "Everyone thinks you're a monster, but I've worked with wolves, tigers, bears, all killers in their own right, all called monsters once. And you know what? Every single one could learn trust if given the chance." The creature made a softer sound. Not quite a growl, more like a questioning rumble. Hyunwoo smiled. "Yeah, you heard me. Trust. Let's see if we can find it together." The shuttle continued toward Tayson 4, carrying a human who believed in second chances and a creature that desperately needed one. Ji-won was waiting at the landing bay when the shuttle arrived. She wore full protective gear and carried a tranquilizer rifle. Behind her, 2 security drones hovered in standby mode. "You're serious about this," she said as Hyunwoo stepped off the shuttle. "Completely serious." "Show me." Hyunwoo led her to the cargo area. Through the transparent containment field, the thornfang paced restlessly. When it saw Ji-won, its spines rose immediately and it released a threatening hiss. "See? It wants to kill us," Ji-won said. "It's scared." "There's a difference. That's a scared animal that can rip us apart. Then we teach it that it doesn't need to." They transported the containment field to Habitat 7. Hyunwoo had chosen the largest enclosure in the facility. It had real dirt, rocks, even a few transplanted trees. A small stream ran through one corner. It was nothing like the cramped market cage. "When we release it, I want you outside," Hyunwoo said. "Lock the door behind me." "Behind you? You're going in there with it?" "Not yet, but soon." They positioned the containment field inside the habitat. Hyunwoo activated the release mechanism remotely, then quickly exited. The field shimmered and disappeared. The thornfang stood frozen for a moment, confused by the sudden space. Then it ran. It ran in wide circles, exploring every corner. It climbed the rocks. It splashed through the stream. For the first time in months, it had room to move. Hyunwoo watched through the observation window. "Look at that. It's not attacking, it's just happy to have space." "Give it time," Ji-won muttered. But even she seemed slightly less worried. For the next 3 days, Hyunwoo did nothing but observe. He watched the thornfang's patterns. When it slept, when it was most active, how it reacted to different sounds. He took notes constantly. On the 4th day, he started feeding it properly. Real meat, not nutrition blocks. He used a mechanical arm to deliver the food, placing it in the same spot each time. The thornfang was suspicious at first, but hunger won. It ate eagerly. "At least it won't starve," Ji-won admitted. "But you still can't go in there." "Not yet." Week 2 began with Hyunwoo talking to the creature. He would sit outside the habitat and simply speak. He told stories about Earth, about dogs and cats, about a wolf sanctuary he had volunteered at as a student. The Thornfang would watch him from a distance, ears forward, listening. "You're talking to it like it understands you," Ji-Wan said. "It understands tone, emotion. That's enough for now." Week 3 brought the first breakthrough. Hyunwoo entered the habitat. Ji-Wan nearly had a heart attack. "What are you doing?" "Building trust." He stayed near the door, making himself small and non-threatening. The Thornfang immediately noticed him. It rose to its feet, spines lifting, a warning growl building in its throat. Hyunwoo sat down on the ground. He didn't look directly at the creature. In predator language, direct eye contact meant challenge. Instead, he looked slightly to the side and waited. Minutes passed. The Thornfang didn't attack. It watched, calculated. This strange human wasn't acting like prey or enemy. The creature took a cautious step closer, then another. "Hyunwoo, get out of there!" Ji-Wan's voice came through his earpiece. "Not yet," he whispered. The Thornfang circled him slowly. Hyunwoo could hear its breathing, feel the weight of its stare. One swipe of those claws could end everything. But he stayed calm, relaxed. He even yawned, showing he wasn't a threat. The creature made a sound, not a growl, something softer, curious. Then it walked away, losing interest. It flopped down by the stream and began grooming its spines. Hyunwoo let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Progress," he said quietly. "You're insane," Ji-Wan replied. But there was respect in her voice. Every day after that, Hyunwoo spent more time in the habitat. He brought a chair, then a book. He would read aloud while the Thornfang watched from various distances, sometimes close, sometimes far, always observing. Week 5 brought the second breakthrough. Hyunwoo was sitting in his usual spot when the Thornfang approached. Not aggressively. Just walked over and sat down about 3 meters away. They stayed like that for an hour, both simply existing in the same space. "It's accepting you," Ji-Won said, watching from the monitors. "I can't believe it." Week 7 was when everything changed. Hyunwoo was preparing to leave for the day when the Thornfang approached. Closer than ever before. It stopped just an arm's length away. Up close, Hyunwoo could see the individual crystalline structures in its spines, the intelligence in its eyes. Slowly, carefully, he extended his hand, palm down, non-threatening. "Easy," he whispered. "Your choice. All your choice." The Thornfang leaned forward, its nose nearly touched his hand. Hyunwoo could feel warm breath on his skin. This was the moment. Attack or trust. The creature's tongue flicked out, tasting the air near his hand. Then, incredibly, it pressed its head against his palm. Hyunwoo gently scratched behind the creature's ear ridge. The Thornfang's spines lowered completely, its eyes half closed. A deep, rumbling, purr-like sound came from its chest. "Oh my God," Ji-Won breathed. "It's purring. The apex predator is purring." Hyunwoo smiled, continuing the gentle scratching. "Good boy. Good Baram." Baram? It means wind in Korean, seemed fitting. From that day forward, Baram greeted Hyunwoo at the habitat door. They would sit together, walk together. Hyunwoo even started training simple commands. Sit, stay, come. Baram learned them all within days. "This shouldn't be possible," Ji-Won said one afternoon, watching Hyunwoo throw a ball for Baram, who chased it enthusiastically. "The Galactic database says Thornfangs are untrainable." "The Galactic database never tried patience," Hyunwoo replied. "They tried shock collars and fear. That doesn't work on intelligent predators, it just makes them more dangerous." "So what's your secret?" "It's not a secret, it's just understanding. Baram isn't a monster, never was. He's a smart, social creature that was traumatized and mistreated. Once I showed him he was safe, that he could trust me. Everything else followed naturally. Jiwan shook her head in wonder. Earth really is different, isn't it? We've been doing this for thousands of years. Wolves became dogs. Wildcats became house cats. We learned that almost any creature can become a companion if you approach them with respect and patience. Bahram returned with the ball, dropping it at Hyunwoo's feet. His spines were relaxed, his posture playful. The deadly predator that had terrified an entire market was now playing fetch like an oversized puppy. The galaxy needs to see this, Jiwan said quietly. Yeah, Hyunwoo agreed, scratching Bahram's chin. Yeah, I think they do. The Galactic Xenobiological Conference was held on Station Unity, a massive space station that orbited a neutral world. Scientists from 400 different species gathered here once every 5 years to share discoveries. This year, Hyunwoo had been invited to present. The invitation had caused quite a stir. Word had spread about the human who claimed to have tamed a thornfang. Most scientists thought it was exaggeration. Some thought it was fraud. A few thought Hyunwoo had simply gotten lucky with a defective specimen. They're not going to believe it until they see it, Jiwan said, as their transport ship docked at the station. Then we'll show them, Hyunwoo replied. Bahram sat calmly beside him, wearing a simple harness. No restraints, no muzzle, no containment field. Just a harness that Bahram had learned to tolerate because Hyunwoo asked him to. The docking crew saw Bahram and immediately hit the emergency alarm. Dangerous predator! Dangerous predator! The automated system blared. Security drones appeared within seconds, weapons charged. A reptilian security chief rushed forward, his scales flushing red with alarm. What is that thing doing unrestrained? He demanded. This is Bahram. He's with me, Hyunwoo said calmly. That's a thornfang. It needs to be in a containment field immediately. No, he doesn't. Sir, I will have you arrested if you don't comply. Hyunwoo sighed. This was going to be difficult. Bahram, sit. Bahram sat immediately, his intelligent eyes watching the security chief without aggression. Stay, Hyunwoo added. Bahram stayed, perfectly still except for his gently swaying tail-like appendage. The security chief stared. It follows commands? Yes. He's been trained. He's not dangerous unless provoked, and he won't be provoked because I'm here. This is highly irregular. I need to contact the conference coordinator. 20 minutes later, Thex arrived. The reptilian bureaucrat looked at Bahram, then at Hyunwoo, then back at Bahram. Absolutely not, Thex said. That creature must be secured or you will be removed from the station. He is secured. I'm his handler. Unacceptable. Thornfangs are classified as Class A dangerous predators. They require reinforced containment at all times. Bahram, Hyunwoo said quietly. Lie down. Bahram lowered himself to the floor, resting his head on his front paws. He looked about as threatening as a sleeping puppy. Thex's eyes widened slightly. I don't care if it performs tricks. Regulations are regulations. Jiwan stepped forward. Sir, with respect, Hyunwoo is here to present research that could change how the entire galaxy handles dangerous creatures. If you force him to cage Bahram, you'll undermine the entire point of his presentation. I don't care about presentations. I care about safety. Then let me prove he's safe, Hyunwoo said. Give me a test. Any test. If Bahram fails, I'll put him in containment. But if he passes, let us proceed. Thex considered this. Fine. Walk him through the main concourse. If he shows any aggression, any at all, he goes into containment immediately. The main concourse was crowded with hundreds of aliens. When Hyunwoo walked through with Bahram, conversations stopped. People backed away quickly. Some screamed. Others activated personal shields. Bahram walked calmly beside Hyunwoo, ignoring all the panic. When a small child from an insectoid species accidentally ran in front of them, Bahram simply stopped and waited patiently for the child to pass. The child's parent rushed over, terrified, but the child, too young to know fear, reached out toward Bahram's spines. "No!" the parent shrieked. Hyunwoo knelt down. "Bahram, gentle!" Bahram lowered his head, allowing the child to touch his snout. The crystalline spines along his back glowed softly, a sign of contentment. The child giggled with delight. By the time they reached the conference hall, a crowd was following them. Word spread fast. The human really had tamed a thornfang. Thex looked shaken but nodded. "You may proceed, but I'm stationing security drones throughout your presentation." "That's fine," Hyunwoo said. The conference hall was packed, every seat filled. Scientists whispered and pointed as Hyunwoo took the stage with Bahram beside him. Da-Yoon, another human researcher and Hyunwoo's colleague, joined them on stage. "Thank you for coming," Hyunwoo began. "I'm here to talk about something my species learned a long time ago. Almost any creature can become a companion if you understand them." He gestured to Bahram. "This is a thornfang from Krell 9. According to the Galactic database, thornfangs are impossible to train. They're violent, unpredictable, and must be avoided or destroyed. 3 months ago, I bought Bahram from a merchant who couldn't wait to get rid of him." Hyunwoo pulled up footage from those first days. The aggressive snarling, the warning displays, the obvious stress. This is what fear and bad treatment look like. Bahram wasn't a monster. He was scared, in pain from poor diet, and confined in a space too small. No creature behaves well under those conditions. He showed footage of the training process, the patience, the gradual trust building, the breakthrough moments. Humans have been doing this for over 30,000 years. We took wolves, apex predators that could kill us easily, and turned them into dogs, partners, friends, family. We did it with wildcats, wild horses, and dozens of other dangerous species. "How?" someone in the audience called out. "Patience, respect, understanding that aggression usually comes from fear or pain, not nature. Most predators are intelligent. They can learn. They can trust. You just have to give them a reason to." Hyunwoo ran through several commands. Bahram performed each one perfectly. Sit, stay, come. Heel, down. Even complex ones like backing up on command or waiting patiently while Hyunwoo walked away. "Anyone can give commands to a robot," a skeptical scientist called out. "How do we know it's real trust?" "Da-Yoon," Hyunwoo said. "Would you mind?" Da-Yoon approached Bahram slowly. She extended her hand, just as Hyunwoo had months ago. Bahram sniffed it, then pressed his head against her palm, accepting the affection. The audience murmured in surprise. Bahram has learned that humans are safe, that we're friends. This is genuine trust, not programming. Then Hyunwoo did something that made half the audience gasp. He pulled out a ball and threw it across the stage. "Bahram, fetch!" The deadly predator bounded after the ball with obvious joy, grabbed it in his jaws, and brought it back, tail wagging. "He plays?" someone asked incredulously. "Of course he plays. He's a social creature with intelligence and emotions. Play is how intelligent beings bond." For the next hour, Hyunwoo answered questions and demonstrated Bahram's training. Scientists who had spent careers avoiding dangerous creatures were fascinated. Some admitted they had killed specimens rather than trying to understand them. At the end, an elderly scientist approached the stage. She was from a species Hyunwoo didn't recognize, with feathers and 4 eyes. "Young human," she said quietly. "I have studied animal behavior for 70 years. I have always believed some creatures were simply too wild to understand. You have shown me I was wrong. Would you teach me your methods?" Hyunwoo smiled. "I'd be happy to. That's why we're here." By the time the conference ended, Hyunwoo had received over 200 requests for consultations. The galaxy was finally ready to learn what humans had known all along. Trust was possible with any creature, if you had the patience to earn it. 2 weeks after the conference, Hyun-woo received an urgent message from the Galactic Defense Coalition. They had a problem, and they thought he might be the only one who could solve it. Tae-sung arrived at the research station the next day. He was a human military liaison, tall and serious, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Baram growled softly when Tae-sung entered, sensing the man's combat training. "Easy, boy," Hyun-woo said, and Baram relaxed. "Impressive," Tae-sung said. "I've read your reports, but seeing it in person is different. What does the military want with me?" "We have a situation on Jangsan. Border world, strategically important. There's a native species called razorbacks. They're big, aggressive, and they've killed 23 soldiers in the last 2 months. And you want to kill them," Hyun-woo said flatly. "The base commander wants orbital bombardment. Wipe them out completely. But that would destroy the local ecosystem and violate about 50 treaties. Command wants alternatives." "You want me to train them?" "I want you to do whatever it is you do. Make them stop attacking us. We've got 2 weeks before the bombardment order goes through." Hyun-woo looked at Ji-won, who had been listening quietly. She shrugged. "This is what we trained for. I'll need my team, Ji-won, Da-eun, and Baram." "The Thornfang comes?" Tae-sung asked. "Yes, he might be useful." 3 days later, they arrived at Jangsan military base. Commander Myung was waiting for them. She was a veteran officer with gray hair and tired eyes. She looked at Hyun-woo's team with obvious skepticism. "You're the animal expert?" "Yes, ma'am. You look young." "I'm good at what I do." Myung snorted. "We'll see. I'm giving you 2 weeks. If you can't solve this, I'm authorizing lethal force. Clear?" "Clear! Show me the razorbacks." They flew out to the affected area in a military transport. The landscape was rocky and forested, with steep valleys and fast-moving rivers, beautiful and dangerous. "There," Myung pointed. Through the transport windows, Hyun-woo saw them. Razorbacks were massive creatures, easily twice the size of Baram. They had thick armor-like skin, curved tusks, and powerful legs. Right now, 3 of them were blocking a supply route, charging at any vehicle that tried to pass. "Have you tried going around?" Ji-won asked. "The terrain doesn't allow it. This is the only viable route for heavy equipment." Hyun-woo watched the razorbacks carefully. They weren't hunting, they were defending. Every time a vehicle approached, they would charge, then return to the same spot. Defensive behavior, not aggressive. "Land there," he said, pointing to a ridge overlooking the area. "That's close to the razorbacks. I need to observe them." For the next 3 days, Hyun-woo and his team watched the razorbacks from the ridge. They noted patterns, movement schedules, social behaviors, and they discovered something important. "They're protecting nests," Da-eun said, pointing to thermal scans. "Look, underground heat signatures, multiple nests right under the supply route." "You built your base on their breeding ground," Ji-won said to Myung, who had joined them. The commander looked uncomfortable. "We surveyed the area. There was no indication of nesting sites." "Because you didn't know what to look for," Hyun-woo said. "These creatures aren't attacking you. They're defending their young. Perfectly reasonable behavior. So what do? We need that supply route. We relocate them. Give them a better nesting site away from your operations." "Relocate them? How? We can't even get close without being charged." "Yes, you can. You just need to speak their language." Hyun-woo's plan was risky. He would use Baram as an intermediary, another predator, but one that showed no aggressive intent. If the razorbacks saw that Baram could coexist peacefully with humans, they might learn the same. "This is insane," Myung said. "Most good ideas sound insane at first." They prepared a new nesting site 3 kilometers away. Better terrain, more water access, safer from the military traffic. Then came the hard part. Hyunwoo, Jiwon, and Baram approached the Razorbacks on foot. No vehicles, no weapons. Just 3 humans and a Thornfang walking slowly and carefully. The Razorbacks saw them immediately. The largest one, probably the Alpha, moved forward with a warning bellow. Its tusks lowered for a charge. "Baram, sit," Hyunwoo said quietly. Baram sat. The movement was non-threatening, clearly submissive. The Alpha Razorback slowed, confused. This smaller predator wasn't challenging it. Hyunwoo sat down too. Jiwon and Da-Yun followed his lead. They all sat in the grass, making themselves small and harmless. The Alpha approached cautiously. It sniffed the air. Baram remained perfectly still, letting himself be examined. When the Alpha got close enough to touch him, Baram made a soft, friendly sound. The Alpha seemed to understand. This group wasn't a threat. "Now the hard part," Hyunwoo whispered. He pulled out samples of food from the new nesting site. Rich soil, water from the better stream, fresh vegetation. He placed them on the ground between himself and the Alpha. The Razorback sniffed the samples. Its ears perked up. This was good stuff, better than what they had here. Over the next week, Hyunwoo repeated the process. Each day, he would bring samples from the new site. Each day, the Razorbacks became more comfortable with him. Baram's presence helped enormously. The Razorbacks recognized him as another predator, and seeing him trust the humans made them consider doing the same. On day 8, Hyunwoo did something bold. He walked to the new nesting site, and the Alpha Razorback followed him. The entire pack followed. When they saw the new area with its better resources and safer location, the Razorbacks made excited sounds. Within hours, they began moving their eggs. By day 10, the old nesting site was abandoned. The supply route was clear. The Razorbacks were happily settled in their new home, and they no longer saw humans as threats. Commander Myung watched the supply vehicles roll through without incident. "I can't believe that worked." "Animals are predictable if you understand their motivations," Hyunwoo said. "They weren't evil or mindless. They were parents protecting their children. Give them a better option, and they'll take it. The Coalition needs to hear about this. We've got dozens of planets with similar conflicts." "Then I guess we'll be busy." Myung extended her hand. "Thank you. You saved lives on both sides today." Hyunwoo shook it. "That's the goal. Every time." As they prepared to leave Jangsan, Hyunwoo visited the Razorback nesting site one last time. The Alpha approached him, not aggressively but curiously. It made a low rumbling sound. Hyunwoo reached out slowly. The massive creature leaned into his touch, accepting the gesture of friendship. "See?" he said to Baram, who sat beside him. "Not so different from us." Baram made a sound that might have been agreement. Together they watched the Razorbacks tend to their nests, peaceful and content. The galaxy was learning. Slowly but surely, they were learning what humans had always known. Every creature, no matter how dangerous, just wanted to be understood. 5 years had passed since Hyunwoo first bought Baram from that frightened merchant on Epsilon 7. The galaxy had changed in those 5 years, changed in ways nobody had expected. On the colony world of New Haven, a young woman named Subin walked through a forest with a creature that resembled a bear crossed with a spider. The locals called them Dreadclaws, and until recently they had been hunted to near extinction. Now Subin was teaching the colony children how to coexist with them. "See how she's watching us?" Subin said to a group of wide-eyed kids. "That's protective behavior. She has cubs nearby. We respect her space, and she respects ours." A small boy raised his hand. "My dad says they used to kill these things." "They did, because they didn't understand them. But now we know better." The Dreadclaw mother watched the group carefully. Subin had spent months earning her trust. Now, The creature allowed humans near her territory because she had learned they weren't threats. Her cubs peeked out from behind trees, curious about the small humans. "Can we pet them?" a girl asked. "Not today. Maybe when they're older and more comfortable with us. Patience is the most important tool we have." Subin smiled, remembering the message she had received from Hyunwoo last month. He had congratulated her on her progress and reminded her that every victory, no matter how small, changed minds across the galaxy. Halfway across the known worlds, Ji-won stood in front of a classroom on Earth. The classroom was unusual because half the students weren't human. There were insectoids, reptilians, aquatics, and several species that didn't fit easy categories. All of them had come to learn the human methods of animal companionship. "The key is reading body language," Ji-won explained, displaying images of various creatures. "Every species communicates differently, but fear, aggression, and contentment have universal tells. Learn to read them, and you can communicate with almost anything." An insectoid student raised a limb. "But my species doesn't form emotional bonds with animals. We're told it's biologically impossible." "That's what everyone thought," Ji-won said gently. "But last semester, one of your people graduated from this program. They now work with hive creatures on their homeworld. They said the same thing you're saying now, before they tried." She pulled up a video. It showed an insectoid carefully tending to a nest of bird-like creatures. The birds chirped happily, accepting food from the insectoid's limbs. "That's Kix. They told me they cried the first time one of these birds chose to land on them. They said they didn't know their species could feel that kind of connection. But they can. You all can." The classroom was quiet. Several students seemed to be reconsidering everything they had been taught about their own capabilities. After class, a young reptilian approached Ji-won nervously. "Teacher, I want to work with the dangerous ones, like Hyunwoo did. Is that possible?" Ji-won smiled. "Come with me." She led the student to the training grounds behind the academy. There, several creatures that the galaxy had once labeled as untenable threats now lived peacefully. Students worked with them daily, learning and teaching in equal measure. "Start here," Ji-won said. "Learn with the smaller ones first. Build your skills. Then, maybe someday, you'll tame something everyone says is impossible. Just like Hyunwoo did." On the edge of colonized space, Da-eun crouched in tall grass, watching a pack of creatures the poachers called Death Runners. They were fast, vicious, and valuable on the black market. Poachers had been hunting them to near extinction. Da-eun had a better idea. Over 6 months, she had trained 5 Death Runners to work with her. Now, they helped her track poachers instead. The hunters had become guardians. When her team detected illegal activity, the Death Runners would track and corner the criminals until authorities arrived. The alpha of her pack nuzzled her hand. Da-eun scratched behind its ears, still amazed that this had worked. "Good girl, Hana," she whispered. Her communicator buzzed. Another poacher ship detected in the sector. Da-eun stood and made a gesture to her pack. They responded immediately, spreading out in hunting formation. But now they hunted to protect, not destroy. "Let's go to work," Da-eun said. Far from all of this, on a quiet sanctuary moon, Hyunwoo sat on his porch and watched the sunset. Baram lay beside him, gray now around his muzzle. The Thornfang was older, calmer, but still alert and healthy. Around them, the sanctuary was home to dozens of creatures that had been rescued from destruction. Each one had been deemed too dangerous to live. Each one had proven that assessment wrong. A small reptilian creature chirped from Hyunwoo's lap. He scratched its chin absently. This one had been labeled irrationally aggressive before he took it in. Now it was cuddly and sweet. "We did something good, didn't we, boy?" Hyunwoo said to Baram. Baram made a contented sound. his version of agreement. A transport ship landed near the sanctuary. Hyun-woo wasn't expecting visitors, but he recognized the species that emerged. A young researcher, barely out of training, with 3 eyes and crystalline skin. "Dr. Hyun-woo?" the researcher asked nervously. "Just Hyun-woo. Can I help you?" "I hope so. I'm Vel, from the Crystalline Collective. I study animal behavior on my home world. There's a species there that everyone says is impossible to approach. They call them soul eaters because anyone who gets close dies. My government wants to eliminate them." "But you don't think that's right." "No. I've watched your presentations, read your research. I think they're just misunderstood, but I don't know how to prove it. Everyone says I'm wasting my time, that some creatures are just evil." Hyun-woo stood slowly. Baram rose with him, moving to his side out of long habit. "You know what I think?" Hyun-woo said. "I think evil is a word we use when we don't want to understand something. Real monsters are rare. Most creatures labeled as monsters are just scared, hurt, or defending themselves. So, you'll help me? I'll teach you what I know. But the real work is yours to do. Every creature is different. Every situation is unique. There's no magic formula." Vel's eyes brightened. "That's enough. Just give me the tools, and I'll figure out the rest." They walked toward the sanctuary together. Baram followed, watching the young researcher with interest. "Can I ask you something?" Vel said. "How did you know Baram would trust you? What if you were wrong?" Hyun-woo glanced at his old friend. "I didn't know for sure, but I believed in the possibility. And more importantly, I gave him reasons to trust me. Patience, food, safety, respect. Those aren't tricks. They're the foundation of any relationship." They reached the sanctuary's main habitat. Creatures of all types moved peacefully around them, predators and prey, each in their designated areas, but no longer enemies. Just neighbors. "This is what the galaxy could look like," Hyun-woo said quietly. "Not perfect harmony. That's naive, but understanding, coexistence, recognizing that different doesn't mean dangerous." Vel looked around in wonder. "My people will never believe this is possible." "Then show them. The way I showed everyone with Baram. One creature at a time. One mind changed at a time." As the sun set completely, casting orange and purple across the sky, more visitors arrived. Scientists seeking advice, trainers with questions, even a few government officials asking for consultation on conservation efforts. Hyun-woo welcomed them all. This had become his life's work, and he wouldn't have it any other way. Late that night, after everyone had left, Hyun-woo sat alone with Baram under the stars. The Thornfang rested his head on Hyun-woo's knee, a gesture of trust and affection that had taken months to achieve years ago. "You know what the best part is?" Hyun-woo said softly. "It's not that we changed the galaxy. It's that we proved fear wrong. Everyone was afraid of you. They said you couldn't be trusted, that you were a killer by nature. And you proved them all wrong just by being yourself." Baram's spines glowed softly in the darkness, a bioluminescent display that Hyun-woo had learned meant contentment. "Humans learned something a long time ago," Hyun-woo continued. "We learned that the scariest monsters can become the best friends, that patience and understanding can bridge any gap, that love isn't limited by species or origin. It just requires the courage to try." He looked up at the stars, thinking about all the people out there now trying to follow his example. Subin with her dread claws, Jiwon with her students, Da-eun with her death runners, thousands of others inspired to see beyond fear. "We started something, buddy, something that's going to outlive us both. And it all began because I saw a scared animal in a cage and thought, maybe, just maybe, there's a friend in there." Baram made a soft sound, then licked Hyun-woo's hand. After all these years, the gesture still meant the same thing: trust. And trust, Hyun-woo had learned, could change everything.